All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started here. Today, we are going to go over the outreach and partners, but there are some updates we wanted to go over with you first. The first is, and I've already reached out to some grantees who previously reached out about this, navigators as well. In the case of duplicates in the system, if you've added or if you see in your customer list, maybe there's two of the same inquiries, or there's an inquiry but also an applicant of the same customer program staff. So I, Natasha, we can remove those duplicates. I know in the past that's kind of caused some errors when trying to reach the application, or other things that have popped up, but it'll also help with reporting numbers. So we do have that ability if there are duplicates for you to remove, or test entries in the production environment. You can send me a help request or an email with those who need to be removed. So we now have the ability to do that on production. Some updates that are going to our UAT environment tomorrow night. I will have to switch over to test to show some of these. Hopefully, I know we have usually an 11 a.m. Update to the test environment, so hopefully we can go over these without interruption. But one of them was there was a bug that was identified where in the customer export, so let me pull this over here, that we can pull from this customer search page and make our selections here. There are a couple items for, let's see, it was the completion date and exit date that what was populating over here wasn't really matching what was the dates of when we updated the training completion status and program exit status. So we've got a bug fix for that going out. Another issue that was mentioned, I think if it was either mentioned or we've come across it in our demos, but the program exit, I'm trying to get this screenshot pulled up here. On the progress page, there would be, we would see cases like this: training completion status, green complete, but exited, a red flag. We've updated the logic for that, so that should sort itself out. And we've also added an update to the Workforce Hub's completion scenario. So if we go to mark our customer is complete, and for the completion type, we have successful placement without bridge training completion. We've added in, previously we had job or wrap transition outcome, but we've also added in opening a clean energy, opening a business included in here. So the transition outcomes will, if that is added as a transition outcome, that will meet this criteria here. And it will also be included in the completion scenarios in the plan versus actual for these items too. And let me see, there's one other update that we have going out Thursday, and this is for the Bridge Pre-Apprenticeship Training Service. See if I have this pulled up here. We've talked about how we're updating the process of how to assign customers to a cohort. Previously, it was through the intake page, but after discussion and troubleshooting, we have, or what the update that's going out to the UAT environment is that this is now going to be captured on the service level. So when you're editing a service, and this is for the Bridge Pre-Apprenticeship Training Service, but we will also be adding this for the job-specific training services as well. And so if we have, for example, our bridge training service here, if we go to mark as successful completion, we'll get this red error message saying the cohort is required for this service. Also see it down here. And so for those services that we mentioned, we have on this cohort tab here, where you need to add the cohort. We click add cohort. Hopefully we're able to do this with the test push, but we can then select from our cohorts that we previously entered on the work plan area, and we can add our cohort here, and we'll see that it has now been added here. And if we go to update the service, then we can get it in time around this update. Okay, we can now see that we've assigned this to this customer in this service to a cohort. So we are adding that into the system again. This update and the other ones, with the exception of removing duplicates, those are going to the UAT environment tomorrow evening. And I want to turn things over to Natasha to talk a little bit more about um, about the cohorts.
All right, thank you. Find my screen here. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to get my Teams up here so I can share my screen. Okay, so I have been going over the well, I've been going over exports and plan versus actual and demographic reports, and just looking at the data in each of those areas, and then looking at it overall. I went through and did some quick scans of the workforce hub programs and the data, and I think it's probably safe to make the assumption that the same observations that I have for the Workforce Hub programs also applies to some of the other programs. So one of the observations that I had was that one of the biggest gaps that we have right now, at least if you look at the export, is that a lot of the cohorts are not entered into the system. And I just wanted to, one, make sure that everyone knows how to add cohorts into the system so that whenever this update that David just mentioned goes live, that you're prepared for that. And also to make sure that everyone understands that all of the the bridge services, the pre-apprenticeship services, the job specific services that are in the system right now, once this goes live into production, then it'll switch over all those existing services to use this new template. So any services that you have in the system right now, bridge, pre-apprenticeship, job specific, that whenever you have those, whatever's in the system right now, it'll stay, all that data will stay there. The difference is that this template will be added to that service. And if you go to make an update to that service, you will be required to update the cohort information. So if you don't make any changes to those services, you know, you don't have to worry about that. But any existing services that are out there and any new services will have this cohort tab, and you will need to be able to add the cohort in order to, save that service. So I want to find out Well, actually, I think what I'll do is I want to go in and just show people again how to add your cohorts. So one of the things, we have an area up here, this provider area, and you go into your grantee details area and add your training programs. So you have to have all your training programs in the system. On your project work plan, I'm just going to pick one here. Actually, I'm in as a super user, so I just picked a navigator. Let's see here. What we got going on here? One of these I think will do just fine. So in your work plan, you'll have your project narrative, activities, outcomes, you have your training programs. You have to have training programs in there to be able to add cohorts. And then when you go to add a cohort, this is where you do it. You do it in the project work plan, cohorts, add a cohort. You put in the cohort name, make it something that's meaningful that you'll be able to select from a list and know what cohort you're referring to. So maybe if it says bridge and it's cohort 1 and it's whatever you need to have, or if it's job specific, maybe put like either like solar, cohort 3, whatever, add Lincoln Land, I don't know, whatever makes sense that you can pick from a list. And then when you add your cohort, you're going to either enter it as a bridge cohort or a job specific cohort. If it's job specific, you select, the job area. If it's pre-apprenticeship, you select pre-apprenticeship. You put in the capacity, the cohort start date, the cohort end date. If you don't have these 100% perfect, that's okay. You can edit these later. Then you'll also select the provider. So this lists of providers right here. This is your listing of training programs. So you pick the right training program, and then you can add any notes. So these notes are specific to this cohort. So if there's anything that you think is helpful, if a navigator's like, oh, should we go to cohort 3 or cohort, you know, 4 because they're different locations, I don't know. Or, if I use this cohort, the first half of it is at location A, the second half is at location B, or this cohort only meets on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or anything that you think is going to be helpful that's very specific to this cohort, that if a navigator or maybe another grantee is helping an individual determine what is the best fit for them, you can put those types of notes in here. So that's how you add a cohort.
Natasha, if you're talking, you have gone on mute, or if
I thought I
not,
did that. All
oh,
right. How long have I been on mute?
the last thing that I heard was, and that's how you add a cohort.
All right. Well, there you go. If you thank you for telling me. I didn't that's weird. Um yeah, so that's how you add a cohort. Is there anyone that has any questions about either adding a cohort to your project work plan that's going to be used to populate the bridge, the pre-apprenticeship, and job-specific services? Because if you have any questions, now is the exact perfect time to ask those questions. Let's see here. Let me look in the chat. I don't know if I. Okay. All right. So, again, don't be shy. If you have questions, other people may have those questions as well. So, the next observation that I had was that, excuse me, some areas, and if those individuals like don't have a job specific service, then that's fine, but I noticed that there are what looks like gaps on the export for the areas where you're looking to see like if the person has job specific training, because in the export, if we go back to the customer list, whenever you do an export, there's a section here. You can look at bridge cohort, bridge information, job specific information, or pre-apprenticeship information. And what it looked to me like there are areas where job specific information isn't being picked up, and I don't know if it's because of um, like older data being in the system, or and maybe it was, people are using a service they think is a job specific service and it's not. I just want to make sure that you're getting credit and the program overall, is like reflecting the work that you're doing and the impact that you're making. And so I just want to make sure that I want to make sure that you understand like which services are the ones that are being counted in at least in those specific areas, because there are a lot of services out there, and just want to make sure that they're all being counted. So one of the areas that we have that you can look at, that I think you can look at the export just to kind of get an idea of, oh, I see Natasha's here, but I don't see a job specific, why is that not showing up? You could obviously go directly to Natasha's career plan and see. The other way to look at it as a larger group is you can go to your work plan and reports, go to the report section, and there's this customer service report. So you can go here. I already have it filtered down. So, as a grantee, I would have my project, I'd, select my project, I'd select myself, and then I can see these are all the services that are in the system right now that's associated with a career plan for this specific grantee for, this specific program. And one of the ones, because there were changes over time with the way, we were collecting the information. So one of the key ones to look for is if you're in like returning residents or, workforce hubs or CEJA, you're going to look for this service called the bridge training. And if you are in Climate Works, it's going to say pre-apprenticeship training. And you'll see this service and you can see how many people have not started it, how many have started it. And if these numbers look pretty accurate, you know, what you would expect, then that's all good. You can see if it's, like I said, not started, started, successful, not successful, you know. If you're like, wait a minute, I'm missing about 30 people, then, you know, just click on this number for the total customers that don't have that service. And, you know, if there's a group of them, let's say, I think most people are pretty good on the bridge. Like I said, I think it's the job specific services that are probably lacking a little bit in some areas, maybe. Again, I'm making the assumption that more people have had these services. What you're going to look for, because we do have like, oh, for EV, we have, you know, the exam, you know, prep or whatever. We do have, look for the ones that are not necessarily the exam prep, but the ones that are job specific for construction, you know, inspectors, whatever, job specific for manufacturing. These are test services, so not exactly correct, but look for the ones that are the job specific and for this field. And then you want to see, you know, how many people have those services either not started, planned, I can't remember the columns, not started, started, successful, unsuccessful, etc. And, you know, you can go ahead and click into that listing if you have, you know, you can, you know, if you want to put in more details for each of these people, you can always just go to this list and like right click this into a new tab. You can open up all these services without actually having to go to each individual. It gives you a list where you can update those services. You know, easy access to the listing of the service that you want to update for those people. And let's see, for an example of people that don't have the service um, in their um, career plan, and you're like, I know all of these people should have this particular job specific service because all whatever 10 of them were in the same cohort and everything. What you can do to get the ball rolling on those is you could say, you know, these people have started it, and you can put in the start date, end date, plan due date, and weekly hours, and, you know, put them in for the people that it applies to. And then if you hit save, then what it does is it'll add it to their career plan, and then you can easily access those people now instead of being in the customers without the service. Then they would, you know, jump over here to like start it, and you can easily access that list of customers and that particular service to update it. So anyway, this is a tool that you can use. I know I kind of jumped around and went through it. Once you start using it, then you'll find your own, you know, what works well for you as far as reviewing the information. But again, it's the customer service report. What I really want you to focus on are the bridge training services, pre-apprenticeship services, and this job specific training with whatever field that you're offering at your organization. And I want you to look at these numbers, and if they don't look right, then this is where you're, you know, if you're missing people, this is a time to add them to the system, because we definitely want to make sure you're getting credit for that. Are there any questions on either this report in and of itself, or questions about specific, you know, like the job specific bridge or pre-apprenticeship training services? Yes, Kevin. And yeah, you
Good
go.
morning. Yes, I just wanted to check. Can you recap on those areas that we need to focus on within this menu? You mentioned the job specific training, and then there were two more before that. I'm just trying to get that
Yeah,
jotted down.
if you're with a workforce program, like the Workforce Hub program, then you would look at your bridge training service. If you're like, if you're with either the Workforce Hubs, CEJA, or returning residents, you're going to look for the bridge training. If you are part of a Climate Works program, then it would be pre-apprenticeship, instead of bridge.
So then it's just those two under the
Yeah, those are what we want to focus on first. And
okay.
then we can, let's just focus on those things first. And then like some places are just, they already have, you can just easily tell that they have all those areas filled out. Other areas, the data may be accurate that's in the system. It just seems like there should be more people with job specific services that have completed them. But it may be fine. But anyway, this is a tool for you to look at least start out with these different services to see, you know, what makes sense. And obviously you can look at your other ones as well, by all means. Look at the ones that make sense and what doesn't make sense, and we can help you with getting some of those straightened out if you need help. All right. Those are our goal and our mission to get all those cleaned up so that we're ready for this new release for the pre-apprenticeship bridge and job-specific template that includes cohorts. All right, David, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Natasha. I do see another question in the chat, kind of more related more broadly to the bridge training. Let me share my screen here. For the bridge training service, should we select offered but declined for those who did pre-screening but did not participate in a cohort? Because I see a lot of names of people who were never enrolled in the cohort. If they are, so I'll answer this a couple ways. So if they're pre-screening, if they have a status of pre-screening, there's no, access to the career plan. And one of the updates that we need to do, in that case, you could check the box that we need to, add in here. Customer declined to participate. We'd never, really have that on record here, but in this case, this customer that I've pulled up is an applicant. And if they never participate in a cohort, we can check the box here. Customer declined to participate. It's taking a second here, but this should, yeah, there we go. Not enrolled, declined to participate. But in the career plan, oh, this is an older one. But in the career plan, we would still see the that service populate over here. And I guess this is a question, Natasha and Diana and Larry. In that case, since, in the system, there's the presence of a service, but would the grantees, if, in this case, the customer was non-enrolled, declined to participate, do they even need to update these services over here, or should they be updated like
Technically, if they've not been enrolled, then they don't need to do anything with those services.
right?
Technically.
Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah, if we go and check over here, we can see there's no action to be taken. Okay. that, we will have, I know we're about halfway through, but still want to go over the outreach and partner section. So we'll go over that. Shouldn't take too long. And then or go
Hey,
ahead,
David,
Natasha.
we have a person with their hand raised.
Oh, hi, Terrence.
Hey, David, I put a screenshot in the message. I was just wondering about the waiting list option. I'm on like on the navigator side of things, but the
Yeah.
waiting lists, and the thing that I've been finding out is that um, we may have some if the hub is not accepting any more applicants or anything else, but we can add them to like a waiting list, but still also be able to do the pre-screening.
Yeah, I think the last time and I'll have to follow up with Michelle. Yeah, because I know that your situation was unique, but still being able to advance and complete the application and those assessments. Let me follow up with Michelle, and we'll get a call on the books to kind of figure out what we need to do.
Okay, that sounds good. I appreciate it. I know that's not on today's topic, but it's just something I just wanted to bring up. I don't know if any other navigators that's on the call also ran across the same. So eventually, this waiting list will be handy.
I see you got your hand raised, Gabriel.
Hi, everybody. It's Gabe, Chicago. I'm on the cohort report, and I'm having trouble filtering dates. Under the date range, I'm putting today to September 1st, and I'm seeing filtered dates up to earlier 2026. It's not really like it's broadening it as opposed to specifying it.
Sorry, could you say that again? You're on the which?
So I'm on the cohort report that we saw earlier. It's my view as a navigator,
Mhm.
and I'm selecting various grantees
Yeah.
under workforce hubs for the program year 26. And when I put in a date range of today's date, 6/24 to 9/1, I'm seeing hits that start as early as a planned date of 3/2 to planned end date of 5/30/26. Is that perhaps a filter error?
Possibly. Would you be able to send me an email or Natasha? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna
Will
say,
do.
it sounds like it's a filtering issue, and I'll just take a look at it real quick. I
Thank you.
mean,
Will do.
I'll take a look at it on the side, but we'll create a card for that to get that fixed. If it,
Thanks.
yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's see here. So we'll go to our outreach and partners. We'll go over this here. So in the CEJA system, we have our tab for outreach and partners. So we'll go there. And our first tab or that it defaults to is partners. So looking through the page here, we can see the partners that have been added into the system. We can also search for them by name, by program, by the types here, and we can select more than one. We can also filter by navigator, grantee, and MOU status. But to add a partner, click this add partner button and enter our name here. So let's see, David. This is ABC, okay. And so then we can select the types here for the partner. If we select employers, we can see there is a change in the fields here. So we do add number of employees, clean energy industry, and are you an equitable eligible contractor, yes or no? But the other fields that we can fill in above that are optional are phone number. Oops, looks like I'm seeing my dashes here. Our phone number, our email address. We have the NAICS code lookup. We can click search to pull back all the codes and then use this second text box here to refine the list. And then we can select the best one. Partner current interests, we do have, again, this is a multi-select of the interests that we can select here. And we do have these check boxes off to the side for partner current interests and employer, that if we uncheck it, it will go ahead and add them all, and we can make our removals or, updates accordingly there. And that's the case for both of these here. Let's see, then we can add, if we have other as a partner current interest, then that will add the, let's see here. I've done too many clicks here. They'll add a text box where we can add those other interests. And then we also have apprenticeship sponsor, yes or no. If yes, we have the number of apprenticeship openings per year. The applications due by. The applications reviewed by date. And a link to the website application. And then we can enter the address information. And then we can select which grantee. I have a sub-grantee listed here, so I'll make our selection here. And then for the MOU status, we can select in process, not applicable. And if we select complete, we can then upload the file, PDF or Word document, and add a description here. And then we will click to add partner information, and this will, let's see. Oh, looks like that is a required field up here. So their text. All right, so now we should be able to save this when we click add partner information. And then it will ask us to leave a note here. So then that will save our partner information. You can see the note that we left here. So let me close this, and we'll now see this in our list here. Let me search for it. So it's like search. You can see that it's been added here. And if we need to, update any of the information in any of these fields, we can. We can also add an additional partner note. Test 646. So we can leave a subject and a comment. We'll see that it gets added there. Let's see, so we'll save that there. And let's see, let me refresh this here. Okay. And so that's what, and we also have an export button as well, where we can export, all the information for the partners in the system. And on our outreach tab, we can add the outreach events. We can filter by grantee. You can see our table of past events here. And to add an event, we'll click the add outreach button. Select our grantee, the outreach event name. And 646. For audience type, we have business engagement or an individual engagement. And for outreach type, we can select canvassing, community partnership, event or meeting, in-house event, and regional or state workforce board events. And we also have an info bubble here, just kind of defining what those types of events entail. And then we can select the date for the event and the number of attendees. All right, so then we'll click save to add the event here. We can see It's added into our list here. We look at C notes. If we needed to update any of this, maybe the number of attendees was different, or if we wanted to add an outreach note here, we can do so as well. So we'll select the, essentially it's a case note. So we'll select the type, the date, the subject, so test 2, and the comment. And we'll click save. And we can see that note down here. And then the last tab is, and well, before I get to the next tab here, we also have an export here to export those events, those outreach events. And so we'll click our contact notes tab. And this is referring to the notes that are left on the partner tab. So we added this business today, or added this partner, David Business ABC, and these were the notes that we left over here. So let me put this up in another tab so we can see where this is pulling from exactly. So from this partner that we added down here, the 2 notes that were added when we click the add partner note, those are pulling through to this contact notes tab here. So any notes left with specifically with partners will show on this contact notes tab. You can search and filter by provider, the partner name, subject, comment, who it was entered by, and then the date it was entered. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up to see if there are any questions about this outreach and partners tab or any other questions about the system in general. Hi, Gabriel. I see you got your hand raised there.
Hi, yes. I was trying to catch up there for a second. I was gonna writing Natasha. Does the navigator have a different view when adding a partner? I was trying to catch up looking at your screen. I was looking at my other screen and saying, doesn't look quite the same.
Let me double check here. Let's see. Let me log in as a navigator. Don't believe that they should. Let's see. So we got our partners, our outreach events, and contact notes. Let me see. I just want to make sure. So yeah, the partner tab, we show any partners that are added into the system by anyone. They'll show, everyone sees them here on this partners tab. But the outreach events tab, that would be, only the events that your organization has added.
Of course, under partner and adding partner, I think that's maybe where I was seeing things wrong.
Well, let's see here. So adding partner. Got this pulled up on my other screen here. Our name types on the email history for the current interest. So it looks like the fields are all the same. Some that depending on certain selections, there may be more fields that populate. I believe it was for partner type. If we select employer,
Gotcha.
then that will add some questions here, and then if we added other for partner current interest, we get this text box, and then if for the MOU, if we say complete, then we get the file upload and description window or fields populating here.
Looks good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right, Diana or Larry, is there anything you'd like to ask the group or share with anyone?
I don't have anything additional to add today.
David, I
Neither
guess
do
I had
I.
another,
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Terrence.
yeah, I know earlier on you guys said if we had duplicates or people that needed to be removed from the system,
Mhm.
as the navigators, is that something that we can do? And
No,
if you say yes, I can look back at the beginning of the recording.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, no, that's not something that navigators or any, Climate Works, Workforce Hubs, that's only, something that, the top, program, or what we call, program staff, internally, Natasha and myself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, any other
So
questions?
Dave,
Or go
David,
ahead,
just to kind of circle back to that question. So in other words, the duplicates need to be identified by the grantee, and basically becomes a work item for you and Natasha, or are you guys seeking out all of the duplicates?
I would say to let us know. I think, you may already, some, grantees, navigators may know of existing, duplicates. If that's the case, go ahead and share that list with us and we can have them removed. If you're looking at, any of your reporting numbers and you see that, I think it's in the maybe in the dashboard of the plan versus actual, where we see number of inquiries. If that looks higher, there's a chance that's duplicates as well. So you can kind of take a look at that. And one quick way I think you would be able to do that is if you looked at your customer list and you ran the export here. I'm sure in test we probably have some duplicates, I would imagine, since this is a started here, but because let's see, I'm logged in as a Workforce Hub grantee. If let's see, make sure I have the latest one here. Is this it is. Okay, so just kind of eyeballing this here. So yeah, in this case, we have this customer who's listed twice, so that would be a duplicate identified in the list here. That you can then send our way, and then we can have it removed.
Thanks, David. Hope that answers the inquiry question earlier.
Yeah. All right. So with that, if there's no other questions, we will end our call, and I will get the recording posted
Hey,
to.
David, since we do have just a few more minutes.
Oh yeah, sorry, I
if people-
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, we have been working with the team on, just like solutions for some of the questions like you've had as far as like, how do I easily find this person? Some people have had suggestions about date ranges and, um, just different ways to highlight those areas that you need to have easy access to either, respond to like a new referral that's come to you. So when I say that a new referral, it's, a pre-screening from a navigator goes to, a workforce hub, for example, or there's a transfer request, or some people, we're going to follow up and how many people are there. Some of these are just line items off of the dashboard. Other ones that may not be, excuse me, on the dashboard that have been suggestions for enhancements would be, you know, if you haven't had two-way communication in the past 25 days, or, you know, if there's customers who have transition outcomes, but they're still in enrolled status and still have completed, or, you know, how do I easily figure out, you know, who is basically next in line to have be considered with the prioritization of, you know, the number of people that are requesting to be or applying for a program. So what we have put together is just a mock-up that, you know, we would have a notifications page, and it would be the landing page. So as soon as you go into the reporting system, you can see these different basically like red flags, or, you know, items that need responded to, and then a way for you to easily see how your breakout is of your applications that, I'm sorry, actually these are the enrolled customers, how many people are enrolled from these different regions. And so if you know that you need to increase your R3, then, you know, you could go to R3 and choose the next customer, you know, next 5 customers that are in line for that area. So wanted to just kind of get your initial feedback on this, and go ahead. It sounds like somebody was saying something. And Gabriel, I don't know if your hand is still, looks like maybe Sarah's trying to say something, or is it just? Okay. Okay. So it looks like we just kind of accidentally got some information, but gotcha. Yeah, if they're, you know, what's your initial response to, you know, having the notification page as your landing page, 1. 2, what areas are we not covering on here that would be helpful to you to have as kind of like your red flags response needed? And any other thoughts that you have on this page? And we can send this out too, so you can have time to comment on it or think about it. But the idea is that we want to make it, you know, easy to understand, and we also want to make it not overwhelming. So I don't want to have everything in, you know, the kitchen sink on here, but something that's just easy at a glance. You can see what needs to happen next. All right, I see Gabriel said, please send it out, so we can do that. All right. I think maybe what I'll do is maybe put together like a Google questionnaire or something like that, maybe. That'll be easy to get your feedback, quick to set up and easy to get your feedback. All right. That's all I have for today.
All right.
Thanks, Natasha. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks
Yeah,
all.
thanks everyone. Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Have a great
Take
day.
care.